And looking down again. There are sirens in the background. Sirens in the background. So I'm going to hit two extremist groups. I think maybe two or three extremist groups that are prominent in America and perhaps throughout primarily the Western world. So I'm going to kind of lean in on it here. I think I'll start with the Proud Boys first. I believe the Proud Boys, and I could be wrong on this, was started, like the idea of it was started by Gavin McInnes as kind of a joke. But it was started primarily as an answer to Antifa. And Antifa came to prominence, from my understanding, in the 30s, in the early to mid 1930s in England. There were because fascism and I believe Nazism had gained kind of prominence in England, and both Jewish and Irish groups got together to fight the fascists. And then in America, it grew to prominence because the punk scene in America had some, I guess you would say, neo-Nazi elements. And the neo-Nazi, the Antifa came out to fight. They didn't believe that Nazism should be part of the punk movement, and they went in and basically removed the neo-Nazis out of the punk movement. And the surprising thing is, Gavin McInnes comes out of the punk rock movement. And there are many facets. There are far more facets to the Proud Boys. There are far more facets to Antifa than there are to the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys are much weaker than Antifa because Antifa also has the banner of Black Lives Matter, and they will use the banner of Black Lives Matter to do some of their bidding. And far leftist groups kind of shill for them, and they kind of promote them. They've actually had pictures of them, like there've been memes of them storming the beaches of Normandy, saying the original Proud Boys. The original Antifa. I actually put a picture of the Korean War, and I said the original Proud Boys because they're fighting the communists. And actually, Antifa, it's kind of a fraud because Antifa, they're actually authoritarian communists. Many of them are anyway, and many of them are violent. But there are quite a few of them that have kind of gained a foothold in Hollywood, social media, and corporate media in general. And no, I'm not going to give a number out because this is going to be a rather brief video. But yeah, they've gotten a foothold in, like I said, in Hollywood and in corporate media. And the one thing they want to do with just about all conservatives is label them extremists, and they want to deny their extremism, But I have this, these idea of the Proud Boys. One of the things they want to do is venerate the housewife, and I think that is it's not really very helpful because, Gavin McGinnis is somewhat of a wealthy person. I don't know how much of his wealth he still has after being deplatformed the way he has. But the days of a stay-at-home mom with a husband makes a living is rather kind of passe. And I think that there are a lot of men out there that are vulnerable and are, I guess you would say, maybe are hurting, and perhaps there is something better than a drinking club that calls themselves Western chauvinists and occasionally will go out and battle Antifa. My recommendation for anyone that is thinking of going out with these groups and getting violent, you might want to ask yourself is how constructive is this going to be? I mean, they will insult you. I mean, the worst thing that they'll do is insult you. Some people are a glutton for punishment and they look for fights, but if the fight gets too serious, you'll end up hurting yourself. I mean, you'll end up hurting the cause and also yourself. Also, yourself before things, get out there. And you might want to ask yourself, you always want to leave early before there's trouble. That is my advice. Is if there looks like any kind of trouble, it sometimes is a good idea to take care of you. I mean, just to leave and protect yourself, and know that these individuals are not going to fight fair. A lot of people think, well, I've been fighting with swords or warring with swords, and they have guns. They're not going to be honorable. They're not going to be decent. And I think perhaps my advice to conservatives is to have kind of a level head. If you do go out there, realize that there are people that are against you and they'd love to crush you, primarily economically, and they'd love to humiliate you. And they would love to insult you at every turn. If you are an out conservative, you're going to get insults. And probably anytime you take a political stand, you're going to get insults. But what can one do? Remember that if you are a conservative, that the rules are not necessarily meant for you, and the rules are not consistent. And the rules are hypocritical and double standards. And they don't necessarily have to abide by them. Social media companies can cut you off at any time. It's kind of like being a grown man in your parents' house. They want to kick you out in the street, even if it's a cruel thing to do, maybe. Or you're a person living on someone's couch. They can kick you out at any time, and they don't have to give you rhyme or reason. Now I'm looking at the chat board right now, and there's a lot of interesting talk there. And Darren says democratic cities are turning into dumps. And they certainly are. A lot of these right-wing groups are primarily men, and a lot of them are poor. A lot of the people who join the Proud Boys or the Patriot Prayer, a lot of them perhaps are poor and not doing that well. And these left-wing groups a lot of them are women. A lot of Black Lives Matter were women, female groups. A lot of these so-called civil rights groups, a lot of them are women. And they're vindictive women at that, some of these women would love to see you in poverty. If you don't go along with their ideology, they would love to basically see you crushed, and they have no empathy, for you. I mean, you look at what happened to Jake Gardner when he ended up committing suicide, and he was driven to suicide by the left. And Megan Hunt was one of the main people who got the mob involved. She wrote something about white supremacy being something that was still dangerous in this world after he was driven to suicide. And I don't know who this guy is. Brian using racist talking points. You know what? I'm going to invite people on my show. I'm going against my better judgment to do this. But hopefully people will keep the profanity to a minimum. And if they had something to add, I will give them the opportunity to come on my show and give me the what for, if they wish to do so. Otherwise, I will certainly end it. I do enjoy having a good conversation. I even enjoy having people disagree with me if they can be polite. And Darren's advice is to go home and watch a movie. We have Political Woodstock. Political Woodstock, how are you? How have you been? I'm putting myself on mute right. I did ask how you were. Did you have anything?
There I am. I thought I was unmuted. So I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just kind of hanging in there and trying to, stick to my points of view. And again, I'm just trying to get myself together in my, striving to eat less and
Good.
and move more. I'm not always successful, and overcoming things. We have Darren in the room too, guys. If
how's my sound? I'm driving.
Does
it sound terrible?
You sound okay. Is it possible though, when you're not talking, you can put yourself on mute?
Absolutely.
So Darren is one of the people. He is from. He doesn't, but he is near the Portland area, and the area has become literally a hellhole to a degree. I mean, maybe not a hellhole, but you had the mayor get punched. The mayor of Portland get punched in the face, and not much is said about it. But is that really acceptable behavior?
Well, I would say not by Darren. He was not punched by Darren. But I wanted to tell you, Brian, how proud I am of you, of all the great strides you've made the last 2 to 3 years. Go ahead, Darren.
Oh, I didn't know what I was going to say. Yeah, I didn't punch the mayor. That's all. I have met him. I liked him when I met him, but he is he's not doing much. He's keeping a low profile. He hasn't come to my hotel in a long time.
I have to ask you, do you think that mayor is a wuss?
He just believes all the stuff that, the mainstream told him to believe in, It's unbelievable to me.
Well, what
So,
about Antifa? Wasn't he basically in support of Antifa by not
oh,
standing up for his city? I mean, let's tell the
he didn't
truth.
do shit. I don't know what it was, but there's, thousands and thousands of people that came to Portland, and every once in a while they'll come back. Like 4 or 5 weeks ago, we had a huge group come in, and they all stayed at the hotel. And then, what do you know? We had $500,000 worth of damage again on the streets.
But did they tip you well? Did they give
Yes, they're
good
great.
tips?
They
Oh,
do.
now
They all
that's
drive
good.
$100,000 cars. Really nice. Did you guys see that crime wave there in San Francisco? You see how nice everybody's cars were?
No, I did not see that.
Smash
That's
and
a
grab.
shocker. San
The
Francisco
smash
was
and
that
grab at
way?
Nordstrom's. You didn't
Or
see
could it
that?
have been
Brian, you
San
saw it, right?
Diego? Maybe San Diego was that way.
I saw bits and pieces of it, and yeah, it was a smash and grab, and basically these cities along with these civil rights groups have really championed the most vile of degenerates, and they are ruining once wonderful and beautiful cities that people used to go uh, to vacation, to have fun in, and now they are the scourge of degenerates. Something that people you know people years ago built up these skyscrapers and these wonderful churches and cathedrals and buildings and shopping malls, and they're being run by the worst types of human beings, and we're not having any law and order, and we're defaming police officers, and we're defaming anyone that is conservative is a hater, and it's really
Question.
what we're doing, and there seems to be no law and order anymore. And I did not see how nice the cars were, but I can imagine. And you know what? I've said this before.
Question.
I've said this before, guys. You know, my parents, particularly on my father's side, was not that wealthy, and my grandparents were not that wealthy, but they would have never have stolen, and they were far poorer than the people that are looting today. And
Well, there's anything under $900 is just a misdemeanor, so might as well go for it. They don't punish
I believe
anybody.
that depends on the state, what's a misdemeanor or not. But
San
Mr.
Francisco, San
Brian,
Francisco.
you talked about cities being cesspools. Would you include the small city of Los Angeles as one of them?
oh, most definitely, it's become a cesspool of degenerates have kind of run rampant. And you know what I mean? Crime has gotten worse over the years, and there's been a real lack of morality all the way around in this country. Again, I helped out with the buses, and I would talk to people. I live in a smaller part that's outside of Los Angeles, and in that part there were serious fights about 3 times a week. There were serious, like, where there was serious bodily harm, and on the Los Angeles buses there were fights every day. And this didn't 60, 70 years ago, this never occurred. We've really gone down in morality and what we're tolerant of. And sometimes I do believe maybe the solution is more prisons, particularly if you're a violent person, because decent people, and particularly poor decent people, are the ones that are harmed by criminals. And now that if you're tough on crime, you're considered an extremist, which is kind of sad.
Well, speaking of extremists, I don't know if you've heard this, that perhaps Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse, a wonderful 100% true American, may be getting the congressional, or what's it called, the Congressional Medal of Honor, or has something to do that. Representative Green is trying to get that passed now. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for this young man of honor?
I would be against that. I think he was not. I would be against that. I do not believe that 17-year-olds, and I think it is a last resort, and I think we should really investigate whether or not we have to defend ourselves. And I've said this before. If it looks like something's going to be trouble, it's best to leave. It's good to get information from people and gather together. I think this is largely an economic war, and it is worldwide, and we have to look even outside our country and get allies outside of our country to fight this this kind of economic war that's been happening, and we have to strive to demand due process from companies.
I'm shocked. I'm shaking my head in disbelief. Mr. Rittenhouse is a purveyor of self-defense, and he was being chased. It wasn't like he was chasing after these fools. I think we need someone like him for our young people to look up to and our older people to be proud of. Yeah, I'm proud of him for defending himself. Even though it resulted in death, I'm very proud of him. What do you think, Darren?
I have mixed feelings. I think he probably could have accomplished more with a phone, but I think he did defend himself. I doubt that the car lot got attacked.
All right, I got a question. I got a question for the host of the show.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I hear you're talking about white supremacy, right?
Yes.
Earlier? Yes.
Yeah.
The white supremacists, all right, they're affiliated with the KKK, correct?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Would you concur with that, agree with that, Angela? White supremacists are affiliated with
It
the KKK.
would depend on your definition of a white supremacist. And
All right,
which
what's your
KK are
definition?
you referring to? Will you please let me finish? Which KK are you talking about?
Are there different
and is
ones?
this really relevant to what we're discussing, which was Mr. Paul Rittenhouse? Could I please finish my statement
I don't care about,
without you going into a smoke-infested tirade that you're beginning to go upon?
No, Angela, I asked about, Brian was talking about white supremacy, all right? And I mentioned that the KKK is affiliated with the white supremacists.
All right, will you let her answer the question the way she, this is not a yes or no.
All right, go ahead. You're talking about White House. Yeah, I don't care about him, but yeah, my answer was looking for from the host was, are the KKK and the white supremacists affiliated?
I think.
Go ahead with White House.
First of all, I think
he's trying to be cute, and he's not.
No. This is a serious question here, because Brian. All right, this is the way it goes. All right, Brian. Are the Antifa? Did they align themselves with the KKK?
What's
or
that?
Because they seem to, well,
Okay.
you're talking about the Antifa,
Right,
and you were talking about
I'm going to put you on mute real quick. Sorry, I hate to do that to you, but I don't believe. I believe that Antifa is a made-up word. Not Antifa, but white supremacy is really kind of a made-up word, and it's if not a made-up word, it's a rather passé word. There are no if you are deemed a white supremacist, they can cut you out of society completely. So I think that's a kind of a fake word. Anyone else?
You could talk about Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse was declared to be a white supremacist, a racist by our president. So, I mean, I think that is very relevant. You cannot just label someone as a racist or a white supremacist. You cannot just do that because it's slander.
Don't mind Dennis, he's a troll. Angela, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Angela, did you shave yourself?
Is this what you want your show to be? Thank you.
Yeah,
I
Brian
just
wants the
don't think
show
it's
to be a
appropriate.
very boring show. That's what he wants.
Boring. He is not boring by any shape or manner. Just because some people do not have morals or cannot conduct themselves in a show doesn't mean you can call them boring. Go listen to something else if you think that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome to listen to anything else that you want. It is your choice to do to do what you want and to do what you please. If you find this subject matter boring, then
Yeah, no, I don't find this subject matter boring. What I find interesting is where that I cannot find an answer, where that the Antifa group, which is apparently fictional, as you stated, Brian, because they're just activists,
Okay,
you know.
let me correct myself before you go on.
Yeah, correct yourself. Correct
I
yourself.
I meant to say white supremacy as today is. I don't think there is such a thing because if you are labeled a white supremacist, if they label you anything like that, if the leftist establishment labels you as that, they come after your job and debank you. There is no supremacy when you do not have the financial institutions behind you. So that whole word
Okay.
is very much made up. It's almost as bad as.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
just look at the
Okay.
president, what he did to Rittenhouse.
All right. Okay. In all regards, do the Antifa back the Black Lives Matter, the BLMs, right? Because the Proud Boys didn't like the Antifas, right? The Antifas are a bunch of pussies, right? You know, like they're just a bunch of like, we'll just activate whoever like we feel like causing shit with, so we can get riots and loots, right?
They don't like
And so
they don't
Proud
like to
Boys,
fight you. They like to wait until nobody's around and destroy stuff.
yeah, the Antifas, they're a bunch of fucking pussies.
Yeah.
So the Proud Boys came in because Trump, because he didn't want to bring in his freaking damn stupid National Guard or nothing. He said, "Yeah, we'll get a bunch of retired fucking army vets, which are gun licensed, registered, and everything." Hey, weren't those who stormed the fucking Capitol, Brian? Who were the ones who stormed the Capitol with guns and everything, and all the security guards let them walk by with all those.
I had to cut him off because
The Proud, he's wrong about a few things.
yeah, I mean he's wrong about the Proud Boys and he's wrong about I mean the whole storm in the Capitol. I mean there's still an investigation and there should be I want to welcome Liz to our podcast. She has not been with us in a while. Liz,
Oh, hi Liz.
hey,
Hi Liz.
hey, I'm going to remove you. You're being removed. You're in the penalty box for a while.
Why did Angela shove a bottle up her stinkhole?
Oh, no. Okay, no, you're removed. I'm sorry. Jeez, I meant Dream Master. Jeez, what am I doing here? I meant Dream Master was removed. And who's Death Daddy? Who is that person? I hope they're not.
Hi, Brian.
Okay, there we go. And we got Liz on the house. Liz, do you have anything to add to this conversation as we've been having it?
Yeah, why did Angela shove a bottle up her stinkhole?
All right, you're removed. You're removed. Go away. Jesus Christ. Sorry, Angela. I don't know who these people are.
Degenerates. I think you got it right.
Oh. Liz, do you have anything to add? You are here.
I don't think that's Liz.
You don't think so? Liz,
Angela, stop being fat.
you are a jackass. All right. All of you are removed from the stream for being.
See, who defends me? Pariahs.
Yeah, I invite people to be on an open chat, and then they all act. Well, listen, man, you're asking stupid questions.
But I do have a question for you though about Rittenhouse. I know I'm kind of talking about this a lot. He went on national TV and talked about how the president of the United States misaligned and slander him, and he was 17 years old at the time, having the president of the United States say that he was a racist and a white supremacist. I mean, I really am proud of Kyle Rittenhouse, because he's standing up for himself, which is hard to do at the young age he's at. What do you think of the president saying such awful things and basically tainting a jury? I mean, it could have tainted a jury because the words of a president really carry a lot of weight. What do you think of that?
Well, I wanted to say that there are Grizz 100. There are blacks in the Proud Boys. The main one of the presidents, I guess, of the or one of the
founders, one of the
chapter presidents of Florida. He is a black Cubano. He's an American black Cubano, and he is one of the. He's actually serving a jail time right now, and so. But you asked me a question about Rittenhouse, him being slandered.
Yes, canceled, if you will, by the president of the United States, Biden. I mean, he basically was trying to cancel him before he even had his day in court.
You know what? I'm curious to how the defamation lawsuit will work, and if it's is opinion considered defamation? Certainly, calling someone a white supremacist can hurt them economically, because it's been proven that if you are deemed a white supremacist, if the leftist establishment deems you a white supremacist, they can come after you economically, and more than physically. There are groups out there that want to destroy you economically, and they just state that you are an extremist. And do you think this is Liz, or is this somebody else? Should I?
You could try. I don't see the person, so
is this Liz, or is this somebody else? All right. If you're not going to say anything, but if you say something stupid, I'm going to remove you. You will not be welcome back into the penalty box. If you are a male voice, the eject button is right on my finger. So if you say something buffoonish,
he's ready to eject you.
And I think, you know what, this is a little weird, so I will eject.
Mm-hmm. They need to unmute themselves. Maybe they didn't realize they were muted.
Well, they're playing a lot of games. Now I'll bring back Dragon Master.
Yo, what's up?
Wait, I think was he the person that was saying vulgar things?
I think it's just one of the many trolls that follow you. What about Darren? Is Darren around, or did he get booted off?
Darren left because I couldn't take any more of his whiskey tirades.
Whiskey? He said he was driving.
No, Darren. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dennis.
Oh, I thought you meant. Okay, I got you.
I apologize. I get that. They're both D's. Dennis is the person who has seen
the
Baltimore Antifa up close, and Darren is the drunken dream master who basically went on sort of a drunken tirade out there. Now, you have worked a little, and if you don't mind me asking, you have worked somewhat with, familiar with the left, and you see how like brainwashed they are, and like they're
yes.
And these people, by the way, they are not interested in having an open and honest conversation. Would that be correct? I'm going to go further. And do they recognize cancel culture?
Well, they're not interested in having an open dialogue unless it's open only for them. I would say one of the things that they're concerned with is donations and their social standing, which means power and money to them. You know, we really need to look at who people are as far as, you know, if they said they're a leftist or if they're a conservative, what does that really mean in today's society? Because I think that's changed somewhat, you know, as far as what I used to be, which was a leftist, is now more of a centrist or even considered a conservative now. You know, the boundaries are changing. And I think you need to know what you're dealing with. There's a lot of people that are fed up with this type of behavior from the far left, and who can blame them? They're causing destruction in the cities that they live in. And these are outsiders more often than not that are destroying cities like, are causing havoc in, let's say, Portland. I'm hoping Darren will call back in because I appreciate his thoughts. But I don't know if I answered the question, but, you know, we need to take a look at definitions, definitely.
Well, there are certainly a lot of vulgarians out there in this thing, and they certainly have just just a lot of people out there who have, for whatever reason, axes to grind with our hosts, and I'm not interested in having that kind of argument. We have American enthusiasts. Let's see who this is, and you are on a short leash. American enthusiast, do you have anything to add to this conversation?
So, Angela, about that bottle.
There we go. We have.
Thank you for protecting me. I really appreciate that.
Well, I'm not gonna turn this show into a fest of attacking.
Right.
I don't know why they're doing that. I guess they find that rather funny. I just, I wish they'd go somewhere else, but they
Well,
enjoy.
I wish the real Liz would show up. That would be cool. Because she's somewhat conservative, from my understanding. And, you know, I'm sure she would have an opinion about Kyle Rittenhouse, because I think this might be a game changer. I mean, to call the president on the carpet for his statements. I mean, I can't wait to see this happen, you know, especially about cancel culture. I mean, is it so easy for the president to cancel someone with a few short words? I think it is. And that's power. And other people are watching. What do you think?
I think when they say the words white supremacy, what they really mean is that you are morally inferior to them, and whatever they do to you, because they are morally superior to you, is okay. If they deem you to be a white supremacist, you are morally inferior. And they see you as just an evil person, and whatever they decide to do to you is okay. Now I'm seeing JP, but I don't know if this is actually JP. I think it is.
I had something I wanted to jump on that. Elitism. That reminds me of what you just spoke of being elitist, where they think they're better than you. Maybe it's based on race. Maybe it's based on religion, economic, belief system. All right, concluded.
JP, is this actually the real JP, or is this somebody else?
So, Angela, about that.
Jesus Christ.
Determined little suckers, huh?
He is extremely determined to.
He just loves me. He loves me.
He does. I think he would want to go
in a sick way.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Sometimes you cannot. There are things you cannot get away from, and people will always try to get in there. And I think that might kind of do it for our show. But I want to just mention these people. On average, these people really kind of deem themselves to be morally superior
Yes.
to the people they're dealing with, and they see those who oppose them as morally inferior. So they're not entitled to due process. They're not entitled to any kind of fair hearing. Just basically, what they really want is just to string them up and hang them from the highest rafters. That's about the size of it. And
Have you done housekeeping?
oh yeah,
You've told them to like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
almost definitely. So anything
Okay.
to add? I'm going to wrap it up. Anything to? Oh, wait a minute. I think, is this a real person? I don't know. Is this a real person?
Come on, tell me about the bottle.
You are such a moron. You are such a moron. All right. You know what? So, yeah.
What's your next show about? Can you give them a teaser about, say, for tomorrow, what they can hear?
You know what? The teaser, you know what? That's a good idea to have a teaser. But
Like a boo-hoo-hoo session. You still haven't done that boo-hoo-hoo session. Explain what that is.
you know what? It's really like people just being too sensitive, and it is what it is. Anyway, I'm just going to say, for the most part, people remain calm. And if you see a situation that looks not right, my recommendation is to leave before it gets out of hand. And with that being said, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And also visit our website at transparencyandmerit.com.
And most importantly, ring the notification bell so when Brian is on again, you can catch his forward-thinking show concluded. And thank you for having me on.
Also, share the show. You know what? Share it if you really think the information's good. All right. Thanks for listening.